What was your most surprising therapy experience? I went to therapy because I couldn't stop lying. Small lies, big lies, lies about lies. It started in middle school when kids made fun of my secondhand clothes, so I invented stories about my family's wealth. By college, I was telling people my dad was a surgeon instead of a mechanic. The lies just kept growing. My girlfriend Sarah threatened to leave if I didn't get help. She'd caught me lying about working late when I was actually playing video games at my friend's place, about having a college degree when I dropped out sophomore year, about my promotion at work that never happened. Dr. Peterson was nice enough, with his leather chairs and diplomas covering every wall, but after 6 sessions, I was still making stuff up constantly. I even lied to him about doing my homework assignments, creating fake journal entries about my progress. He'd nod encouragingly while I fed him complete fiction. Then I got jury duty. 3 weeks of sitting in that fluorescent-lit waiting room, getting called for selection but never chosen. Most people complained endlessly, but this older woman Janet just sat there knitting the most intricate sweater I'd ever seen. On day 2, she caught me in a tiny lie. I'd told another juror I was a graphic designer instead of working retail at Target. Janet looked up from her needles with sharp blue eyes. "Honey, your hands are too soft for real design work," she laughed. "Plus, you keep checking that Target scheduling app on your phone every 10 minutes. Instead of being embarrassed or defensive, I was curious. How did she notice that? 40 years as a social worker, she explained. You learn to spot when people aren't being straight with you. Question is, why'd you say that? Something about her direct but kind approach made me actually think about it. We talked for hours while waiting to be called. She didn't lecture or psychoanalyze, she just asked simple questions. What's wrong with working retail? She wondered, counting stitches. My nephew manages a Best Buy, makes good money, loves helping people find what they need. I found myself explaining about my dad fixing cars, how kids at school called us grease monkeys, how I felt ashamed when college friends talked about their parents' careers, how easier it became to just invent a different life. Lying's just fear wearing a costume, Janet said, pulling yarn from her bag. Fear you're not interesting enough, good enough, whatever enough. But honey, the truth's usually way more interesting anyway. Day 3, Janet started calling out every lie immediately. Not meanly, just matter-of-factly. Nope, try again, she'd say when I claimed I'd traveled to Europe. Your passport's clearly unused in that wallet you keep fidgeting with. Instead of getting angry, I started laughing. Then something shifted. I began telling her the truth about everything. My dead-end job, my relationship problems, how my dad left when I was 12 and I blamed myself, how I'd built this elaborate fake identity because I thought the real me wasn't worth knowing. Janet listened while her needles clicked rhythmically. You know what I see? She said during lunch break. A kid who's been carrying around shame that doesn't belong to him. Your dad leaving wasn't your fault. Working retail isn't shameful. Dropping out of college doesn't make you worthless. She showed me pictures of her family. Her son, the janitor, her daughter, the waitress, her husband who drove a garbage truck for 30 years. Good people, honest work, she said proudly. No lies needed. By Thursday, when they finally selected our jury, Janet pulled me aside. She pressed something into my hand, a small knitted square, perfectly imperfect with dropped stitches clearly visible. Even mistakes can make something beautiful, she said. You've got a good heart, kid. Stop hiding it behind stories that aren't yours. The trial lasted 2 days. We deliberated, reached a verdict, and went our separate ways. I never saw Janet again, but those conversations changed everything. I stopped lying to Sarah that weekend, told her about dropping out, about my dad, about the fake promotion. She cried, not because I'd lied, but because I'd finally stopped. I knew something was off, she admitted, but I fell in love with glimpses of the real you. I want to know that person completely. We're engaged now. I still work retail, but I'm taking night classes. Sarah brags about my customer service awards to her friends. No lies necessary. Sometimes the best therapy happens in the most boring places, with people who see right through your bullshit and love you anyway. I still have that knitted square on my keychain. It reminds me that imperfect can be beautiful too.